Welcome back. All right, news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for your Sunday, November the 24th. Starting at the top of the board with Minnesota Wild, Kirill Kaprizov. So there was some concern. He was getting an MRI done, concerned that he might be out for a while. He missed yesterday's game, but there's good news. The good news is that he's avoided a serious injury, and so the team's going to see how he's feeling in a few days' time. There's the possibility he won't miss very many games at all. And that's great for the Minnesota Wild and, of course, for Kaprizov, as he was having a Hart Trophy season potentially at the time of the injury. So, with Kaprizov being good to probably come back in a few days' time, this should help with the frustration level for Minnesota. Elliot Friedman reporting last night that the Minnesota Wild were very frustrated to see Kaprizov get hurt 2 straight seasons, and that there was no penalty on either of the plays. Last year's, I understood the upset that there wasn't a penalty there. This year, it to me just looked like a collision. I didn't see anything there that I thought would have warranted anything. But you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Dylan Samberg of the Winnipeg Jets is dealing with a broken foot, so he has gone back to Winnipeg for further evaluation, and then we'll get an idea for what the timeline is there. Broken foot, depending on the break, it could be a month, 2 months. We'll see how long Samberg is out. The good news is Ville Heinola has finished his AHL stint. He's been recalled. So Heinola now has a role with the team potentially with the injury to Samberg, and so he may finally get that chance. I've argued in his favor for years that I hope Winnipeg would give him a chance or trade him to a team that would. And so this might be the best opportunity he's going to get this season. Wishing him all the best with that. So last night, Sidney Crosby reached the 600 goal mark. It's interesting, too, that he and Mario Lemieux, both players who have 600 goals for the Penguins, they're one of 2 organizations where you have a player who's had 600 goals playing for one team. Gordie Howe and Steve Yzerman had 600 plus goal season, or 600 plus goal careers with Detroit. Seasons would be something quite different and would be insane. That's when you have the sliders all just ridiculous. And anyway. So it is interesting that the Penguins have 2 600 goal scorers. I guess there's always the chance maybe Malkin at some point, but probably not. But at any rate, yeah, they're the team that has 2 600 goal scorers, and we'll see if other franchises join them over the years. But seeing that we only have 2 600 plus goal scorers in the NHL right now active, and that's Ovechkin and Crosby, it's not an easy plateau to reach. So congratulations to Crosby on getting there. Ottawa news, McEwen's been waived, so they're trying to change things as this team has been in a bit of a slide for a while. They've recalled a stat check. I'm not sure that this is going to make much of a difference on the ice, but it's a sign that they're trying to shuffle things around, and at some point in time, I would expect the team to find a way to make a trade. It's just, again, I'm old enough to remember when teams would have made a bunch of trades by now already, but that's pre-salary cap. That's back when guys were making about $50 a week. But anyways, I'm kidding, but back in the 80s, yeah, no, the pay was nowhere near what it is now. Stützle last night also became the youngest Ottawa Senators player to reach 100 goals as a Sen. He passes Hossa. Hossa was the youngest before him. So Stützle is a good story amongst a season of not great stories for the Ottawa Senators so far. Their record's definitely not a great story. So yeah, Stützle reaching 100 goals. He's having a good year. I think the issues lie elsewhere on the team, but we'll see if they're able to fix it and turn it around. So Kirby Dach had a rough night last night. Mistake that he makes ends up kind of giving Vegas the momentum, and so Vegas is up 5-0 after the second period. Kirby Dach found himself benched, and after the game, Marty St. Louis calls him out, and I don't think it's wrong to call out players after they have a rough game. Kirby Dach vowing to improve and saying that he's been trying hard, but maybe he needs to try harder. With Kirby Dach, it is interesting because I remember a few years ago, before all the injury stuff, he was such an excellent, good young forward, and I'm not sure if it's the injuries. I'm not sure if the amount of time he missed, if that just really hurt his development. But it's not the same right now with Kirby Dach, and I'm not sure what the fix is going to be when it comes to his play. I don't know if a trade would make things better for him. I don't know if a move between lines for him in Montreal would help, but Doc has had a rough season, and hopefully he gets it turned around. So the Colorado Avalanche not having a problem with scoring, and Cale Makar is the sixth fastest active player to record 100 multi-point games, and this is active, obviously. 336 games it took him to get there. It took Crosby 235, McDavid 270, Ovechkin 272, Kaprizov 292. Malkin also took 292 games to get to the 100 multi-point game mark. So Makar, the fastest of defensemen, currently active, and I'm not entirely surprised. The Avalanche also have 3 players at 30 points. There are 8 players at 30 points, so almost half of them are Avalanche members. McKinnon, Rantanen, and Makar. So Makar's on pace for, 120 points? Roughly 120 points? Yeah, and I won't be surprised if he gets to that 100-point mark. I won't be surprised if he gets to 110. I don't know what the limit is for Makar, but it's pretty high. The Vancouver Canucks. One of the most interesting stories in the NHL right now is Vancouver. At home, miserable, not great. But on the road, fantastic. They now have 7 wins in a row on the road. That is tied for third most in the franchise's history. And they have the NHL's best points percentage on the road at .875. They lost their first road game of the season. They've won 7 in a row since then. So the road, really, their away record is doing its best to keep them above water this season. And we'll see if they can bring that game home. I really think it's a matter of keep it simple. And I don't think they do at home. I think they do on the road, and it works. So we'll see if that continues. Buffalo does something that Vancouver did earlier this season, and it's interesting because it's the first time in Buffalo's franchise history that they've done it, the same as it was for Vancouver. They sweep a California road trip. They go through LA, Anaheim, and San Jose, and while they didn't look fantastic in those games, they won all 3. And so for Buffalo, we are now looking at the Sabres as maybe they can be a playoff team. They've been outside the playoffs for far too long. They have a good roster. They have good forwards, good defense, and I think their goaltending's good as well. And so there's no reason Buffalo can't be a playoff team. I don't want to get too excited because it is just November, but one thing to keep in mind is this is normally the time of year where Buffalo's done their swan dive out of the playoff picture, and then they'll sometimes creep back up later in the season only to just miss. So if they have a good run in November, have their confidence up, if they can get above the playoff line, maybe. So all the best to Buffalo in their hunt for a potential playoff spot. Let me know your thoughts. Is this the year where the Sabres finally return to the playoffs for the first time since 2011? Or are they going to stumble their way out of that race? Let me know your thoughts. I do hope they make it. I really do. I hope that this is the year that Buffalo gets into the playoffs and that all this discussion goes by the wayside. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support as always. I will talk to you again soon.